Blizzard recently announced information for Diablo IV's first season, Season of the Malignant. And today, I wanted to quickly go over what's coming. What is the season journey, and how do you play the season? Which is something that if we were talking about Path of Exile or Torchlight Infinite, maybe even Last Epoch, I don't think I'd be even considering. All of those games have said that the seasonal loop is going to be so core to their gameplay, in Path of Exile's case it has been for almost a decade now, that it almost goes without being said. But Diablo IV is a new game, and I know a lot of people are probably coming in from other titles, be that other Blizzard titles that may not be seasonal, or other titles completely outside of that, like a AAA single-player game, where you're not used to having everything get reset, and that can seem scary. Don't worry, stick around to the end, I'm going to be addressing that as well, and I think, or at least hope, I can add some perspective there. Before I get into things, a special thanks to my patrons and channel members for their continued support. More about that at the end. So first up, what is being offered by the Season of Malignant? The main mechanic is Malignant Hearts. You can kind of think of these as legendary gems from Diablo III, Mark III. Yep, Blizzard's tried this before, so they're hopefully going to be very good at it. And on the livestream, they said this is going to lead to game-breaking builds. So break out those millions, or maybe get those billions ready as well. If you want my full thoughts on the livestream, I'll link that up in the card and down below. You can always go read it after this. So, you get Malignant Gems by fighting Malignant monsters. These Malignant monsters are found throughout the world, and I would assume in Nightmare Dungeons as well. There are 4 types. You can think of these as blue hearts, yellow hearts, red hearts, and white hearts. Blue, yellow, and red hearts all go in a socket of the same color, and you can't change the socket colors, which is going to make unique items really, really awkward. If you were hoping for a Ring of Mendeln build in Season 1, don't get your hopes up, that's gonna be really rough. White hearts go in any socket. Think of it as a prismatic heart, kinda sorta. And because they go in any socket, they're also much rarer, possibly more powerful, and personally I hope strong enough that you can build around it if you get a really good item with the wrong color of socket. I'm also going to guess that these are less skill enabling and more build enabling. In other words, you're probably not going to see something that says your chain lightning does more damage, but you might see your lightning effects do more damage. That way it can be used by multiple different classes and builds. Blizzard has confirmed there are 8 of each different colored heart for 32 total. In addition, you can go to Cormond and break unneeded hearts down to craft invokers. Use an invoker in a Malignant tunnel to get a heart that you want. This is another endgame farming loop. Don't have a heart you need? Well, go farm another one and hope for higher item power, or maybe a better roll. To me, this doesn't seem all that different from dropping more legendary items in hopes of getting a good aspect, but the effects themselves do seem to be more interesting, and hey, game-breaking builds can definitely be fun for a little bit. To get any of these Malignant Hearts, you're going to need to make a seasonal character. If you want to know how to prepare for Season 1, then check out my video or my Maxwell article, both of which will be linked after you're done watching here. Last but not least, there's also a new boss fight, which Blizzard has released very little information about. It could be that this is a new Uber Lilith tier encounter that you won't really be doing until the super late endgame, level 100, or it could be something that you'll find just roaming around the world, maybe like the guy you meet in Helltides, and you'll end up fighting it a lot. Personally, I kind of hope both, because that way I get a really fun, cool encounter in the world, and I also get a nice endgame encounter to aspire to. But we'll just have to see what the season brings. Because now I want to get into the second part of this, which is the season journey. If you've played Path of Exile, then the season journey is just like your challenges. If you've played Diablo III, the season journey is very similar to D3's. Do certain tasks, progress through the season journey, and get some rewards. In this case, you don't just get your set items, instead you get legendary aspects, and you also get favor for the Battle Pass. Now, I'm not going to be covering the Battle Pass in this video, but if you're curious what the Battle Pass entails, then do be sure to get subscribed, leave a like while you're down there. I have a dedicated video on the Battle Pass coming up in the very near future. When it comes to the season journey, the first couple of tasks, it looked like you had to actually go out of your way to not get them. Which is a good thing, because that's going to give you access to new legendary aspects that go into your codex, which will provide a significant power boost while you're leveling. So you want to get them early. And as a quick note, you don't need to do every single task within a tier either. There's going to be a requisite number, Once you've completed them, you can move on to the next. So if there's one task that you just really hate, don't worry about it. Skip it, or come back later, do it just for fun. And then this gets to the question which has caused a lot of discussion in the community. Should there even be seasons, and is it bad if you're missing out? First up, on July 18th, there's going to be a big preseason patch. This includes all of the balance changes from Season 1, all of the new unique items from Season 1, and all of the new legendary aspects from Season 1 that aren't tied specifically to the season journey. That goes into the game on July 18th, ahead of the season on July 20th, which means if you're playing on the Eternal Realm, you gain full access to all of those changes. You will not have to make a new character for that, and you won't have to restart. But here's the thing. Malignant Hearts are not slated to become a core part of the game, and this has caused, to say the least, some ripples. Now, maybe I'm just really used to this. I played Path of Exile for years and years. I remember the seasonal events in World of Warcraft, where things happened for a short time, it was fun, it was cool, sometimes you got powerful items from it, and then it all went away. But I do vaguely remember a time where even I said, I think I'll just play Standard. I don't want to reset my progress, I don't want to have to level again. And I missed out on some cool stuff. I know I missed out on some cool stuff because there have been some really unique Path of Exile leagues. Legacy, for example, where you got to mix all sorts of league mechanics, and there was almost nothing like it until around a year later, actually closer to 2 years later, when they introduced Betrayal. Clearly, they had used Legacy to test the mechanic, and it did become part of a core game. But I would have been waiting roughly 2 years, and I could be remembering wrong, I didn't look up those dates, to experience that cool feeling of mixing different league mechanics together if I hadn't played Legacy League. I remember the recent Forbidden Sanctum very fondly. It was a roguelike mode that felt really different from normal Path of Exile. And it's not part of a core game. If you didn't play Forbidden Sanctum League, then you entirely missed out on that game mode. There have been events in PoE's past, like Descent Champions, their previous roguelike, Deadman League, where you could actually PvP other players and try to get Kongor's Undying Rage, because that thing would let you smack people and one-shot them. And these were all really cool, temporary events. Not to mention builds. I played a Cast on Crit Forbidden Right build in 318 Sentinel League that would never have been possible on Standard. It had absurd, disgusting gear that came from the League mechanic, and that just all went away. Kind of. Technically, the gear does still exist on my character in Standard, but the game has changed since then, and it doesn't feel the same. Very often I find, even if the items remain after a PoE league, the magic of a build as it was then often doesn't. It does feel like a truly unique experience, and I think that's why, even after 10 years, I still play Path of Exile. Because I don't see it as, everything I worked for got lost. I see it as, this is the new Path of Exile game. I get to experience everything I already liked about PoE, but with more stuff on top. And in that regard, I'm actually a little disappointed that Blizzard didn't go further. I was really hoping that there'd be some sort of new endgame loop that would be available on the season. And I also hope that the Malignant Hearts do end up becoming a core part of Diablo IV. Maybe they need to get balanced and toned down, since aggressive power creep absolutely is not a good thing. I don't want to see nonillions anytime soon. But I also think right now there are a few things which are lacking when it comes to building a character. That skills feel very cookie cutter, and it would be really nice if there was something like legendary gems, or in this case Malignant Hearts, to allow you to go a little bit outside of what you can now, without it being game breaking. Do I have some concerns about the season? Absolutely yes. For all I know, I'm going to power level to 100, blast all the content, and be bored because my build's way too OP. Or I could have a lot of fun, a really meaningful experience, play a few builds, and call it good. Because the other thing the devs stressed in the livestream is, you don't have to just play Diablo IV. You can always go take a break and play Path of Exile, Torchlight Infinite, Last Epoch, or a completely different game entirely, maybe Armored Core 6. Or, if you do want to play more Diablo, you can take a couple weeks, play the season, have some fun, try the Malignant Hearts, and then go back to your character on the Eternal Realm, and pick up your progress, because it's all saved. Everything you already did, still going to be there. And so, with that said, I'm curious. What are your thoughts on Malignant Hearts, the season journey, and seasons in Diablo IV? Are you looking forward to them, giving it a pass, or just don't know what to feel. And if you don't know what to feel, you're in that last camp. All I can say is give it a try. See how it goes. Maybe you'll be surprised at how fun it is to start over. Because, as it turns out, there's an entire genre of games, roguelikes, that's not only built on restarting, but is incredibly popular and taking over Steam. I think these days I'm more likely to see a roguelike game than an open world crafting survival game, which is genuinely impressive to me. And so be sure to share your thoughts down below. Now, if you're looking for something else to watch, then maybe check out the things you need to do to prepare for Season 1, some of the problems that the Sorceress class currently faces, which I hope to be fixed by Season 1. Maybe you're gonna theory craft a build. I recently did a live stream going over theory crafting in D4, and I've also talked about how to scale your damage and damage multipliers. Links to all of those will be up in the card and down in the description below. Now, before I go, a special thanks to my patrons and channel members for their continued support. For as low as $1 a month, you can become a patron and help make videos just like this one possible. But with that said, thanks for watching, hope you try the season, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.